Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shootaround. I am the only host of this podcast, Rudy Saint-Claire, and joining me today, along with the chat, thank you for being here, everybody. Above me, Alex Hoops, the legendary one, and above him is the one and only Rusty Buckets. How are we doing today, fellas?
Doing good.
Good.
I turns out just to get ahead of the how are we doing, other than just saying good. I'm apparently the one and only in terms of breathing like shit as well, because I just got back from a sleep study, so my energy levels are very weird. So just wanted to put that out there for everybody. And the thing I didn't tell you guys before the show is that the technician told me after waking me up after 30 minutes, he had been doing the job for 10 years, and I was probably one of the 5 worst cases that he has ever personally witnessed of sleep apnea.
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
If you have been in my presence in any capacity, you don't even have to be in the room. I don't even know if you have to be in the building, but it's not a surprise in any capacity.
It's like everyone probably knows someone that has sleep apnea, but being around Jacob and witnessing his sleep apnea firsthand, it's sad. It's like I'm looking at someone with like a severe medical condition right now. It's like you are ill and you need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
And so I'm very glad that Jacob finally went to the doctor for this, because it's like, oh my gosh.
Dude, I've been putting this
is going to kill him.
I've been putting this off for like 6 years. It's like I realized it was a problem like by the time I was like 16.
Yeah, I got a
There's
feeling
videos.
that
It's bad. It's
yeah.
bad.
There's a lot of videos. Anyone who's ever slept in a room with me or nearby for the first time has recorded it, because how do you not?
Yeah, it's there's that one from Vegas Summer League, not this year but last, where we all first showed up, got to the hotel room, and me, Alex, and Noah Terranova, shout out Noah, we're all just chilling, and you decided to take a nap, and we all just like immediately paused as soon as we heard you start snoring, and just stared at you for a while, watching you snore, and said, "Man, someone needs to tell him this is a real problem." We played music on our phones as loud as we could just to see how like the volume level compared, and you were just drowning it out.
I didn't know that part of it.
This is what it sounds like. I'm not kidding.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, it's not going to be actually the video.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Oh,
yeah. You could tell me that's a video that Alex has that I don't know about of you, Jacob, and I would believe it.
Yeah, you're telling me you haven't heard that audio before?
No, I'm not a snoring audio aficionado quite like you guys. But before we put our audience to sleep, let's go ahead and tell them what we're doing. We're ranking every power forward in the NBA. Thank you.
That was solid. That was very good.
Low key, we've been doing this for a long time. You know what? I've developed a skill as a podcast host, dare I say. That's why I'm the only host, and you guys are just the featured guest every single episode. And it may or may not live on Jacob's channel, but it's my show, damn it.
I saw that Zay said in the chat that I thought there was a bear in your room.
Jacob, look out.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing this in alphabetical order by first name. We got about 2 power forwards per team this time. Last week was a little bit short, and the 2 weeks prior were a little bit long. So hopefully this is the medium happy amount of players to rank in one podcast episode. Without any further ado, do we want to get started?
Yes.
No.
Okay, where are we ranking Aaron Gordon? I guess before we start the ranking, we should do what we did last time and set some criteria for what each tier is first. And then
automatically, I think we still need an F tier, even if we don't use it much.
Yeah.
Just
as a good baseline.
Just because that instantly makes all the tiers above it like have more room for differentiating it, you know? Because Aaron Gordon isn't an all-star, but how far from it is he? That's the question I posed. To you,
Not
Alex.
very far at all, I don't think, right? I mean, he's the second best player on the Nuggets.
So the
Third.
way I've been looking at it,
I get what we had this conversation last week, but
Right.
as superstar, all-star, B is like excellent starter, like S tier role player. C is a pretty good role player. D is a rotation guy that you're not happy about, but you're not pissed about. And F is Cameron Payne. So for all-star, by all-star, I don't necessarily mean literally an all-star, because sometimes there are all-star caliber players who don't quite make an all-star team. I would say that CJ McCollum was an all-star caliber player for a couple of years, but obviously never made the team. So Aaron is like kind of between A and B for me right now, because I feel like he has pretty close to all-star level production. At least impact for sure. What are you thinking, Alex?
this is a situation where like I kind of wish we could add a tier because he's too good for what I think B will end up being, and he's not quite good enough for what I think A will be. So I think like a B plus or an A minus.
We can get ahead of the curve and go ahead and throw B plus.
B.5?
Yeah, a B and a half. Yeah, let me go ahead and add that B plus tier in here. I'm gonna take away it from the screen.
When you said B and a half, I pictured a B and then a B cut in half.
A B and a half.
I don't know why that image came to mind. I might be a serial killer, but what are we supposed to do now, Rudy? I'm scared.
I'm adding B plus tier. Don't worry about it.
The last few episodes have only been tier lists. It's been so long since we've been big screen. And
I know, it kind of threw me through a loop there. I was like, whoa, I don't want to see myself that close up.
Yeah, I'm
I don't even look in the mirror in the mornings.
Who would ever want this? Why would you watch this?
This is what we do most of the time, fellas. So
you see the
ugly
pores on our skin.
All right, I'll go ahead and add that back now. So Aaron Gordon, B plus. I didn't even add the tier. I just adjusted the camera. Go ahead and do that. Aaron Gordon kicks it off at the B plus. Up next, we got Aaron Nesmith.
Aaron Gordon is new. It's wild that Aaron Nesmith is a power forward. Is that true?
According to cleaningglass.com, it is indeed
the Pacers
true.
Run small a lot. I guess
he's also 6'6". So
yeah,
it's not like he's small.
I don't know. He just doesn't feel like he's got the bulk to play power forward.
Rudy, chat's saying your mic's all sorts of goofy right now.
Sounds good from our point of view.
That's no good.
It does sound good from my end, but
why do I have to be the one up center stage? I think Aaron Nesmith. I felt like he got kind of a shitty deal with the Celtics. Like I didn't think he was terrible, and a lot of Celtics fans thought he was just dead terrible. No, he's not in B plus A minus. I don't know, probably C, right? Like I'm cool with Aaron Nesmith playing like 20 minutes a game, and like I'm not upset about it either.
I'm gonna say he's probably D tier.
Really? Even though he's like is he not like a really good 3-point shooter or something like that?
I don't know. There are a lot of people that really think he's trash, and I just don't see it.
He shot 37%. It's one of those things where like there's numbers that are good, but like if he is playing meaningful minutes on a team that has aspirations above the lottery, then you're in a bad position. I think he's D tier.
I'm fine conceding that, but I think he's going to be decent at some point.
This guy did not meet our games play criteria, but I figured a power forward tier list wouldn't be complete without Poku. So, Alex, we putting Poku in D or F tier? I'm assuming that's the range we're talking with Poku right now.
So if you would have asked me before January of last season, I think there was an argument that he was C tier. The problem is, and I've talked about this a lot before, every time Poku starts to play well, he gets hurt. And then when he comes back, he's terrible. And then he has to work himself back to being decent again. and he gets to that decent point, and then bam, he gets hurt. So I'm gonna say he's probably D tier.
Probably D tier.
There is an argument this year that like if he doesn't put things together, I think he will end up as an F tier player. But there is enough that he showed prior to the All-Star break of last season that I'm like, he's not terrible out of the league yet. There are things that he can potentially do. It's just got to stay on the court.
Yeah, adds up. So Poku into D tier. Anthony Lamb. Is this, another D
on
tier?
a moral level.
Easy F.
I don't even want him. I don't even want him on this list.
Yeah, as a player and as a person. F tier.
Yeah, he's a horrible person.
Bobby Portis.
B. He's one of the best 6 men in the league. I'm comfortable saying he could be a starter on plenty of teams, and it's fine.
Yeah, I think Bobby Portis comfortably a B tier player.
Well, he averaged like 15 and 10 off of the bench.
Yeah, that's pretty stellar. Brandon Clark. I think if Bobby Portis is a B tier, Brandon Clark also has to be a B tier.
I'm good with that.
Like almost single-handedly in the last game of the 2022 first round playoff series between the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, like kind of single-handedly won them that closeout game simply due to his offensive rebound. It was kind of crazy, and like you guys know, I'm like a diet Timberwolves fan. They're like one of my favorite teams. And even I was watching that, I was just like, yeah, you got to get you got to get a rebound. And like, this dude is just a monster right now. I love Brandon Clark. It's a shame he got hurt at the end of last season.
The one thing with him that would maybe like, I think he's definitely closer to C than B plus A minus, where he probably would have been like a year or two ago. I just know there was like one season, it was like he could not miss from floater range. And the next season he was terrible at them. And it was like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, his rookie season was phenomenal. It literally looked like he couldn't miss inside the paint. And then sophomore slump just brought him right back down to normal.
Yeah, but like he lost his touch from floater range to a degree that's like, did something physically happen to you? Like, how does that? There's no way you were just hot for your entire rookie season.
Yeah. Wasn't there something? Was he one of the? I know there were a couple players from that draft class where like they reworked their shot and like. For some reason, I feel like I remember seeing some stuff, and they're like, "Oh, they ruined his shot."
Zay said
they made him
because
like
of the man.
No, he said BC is the man.
Oh,
yeah, there's a bad verb there. the powers that be did not ruin Brandon Clark.
Anyways, point being, Brandon Clark, good player.
Excellent player. I honestly think he is often the third guy behind John Jaren in Memphis. He's really phenomenal when he's on. Kind of
like
mid when he's
definitely
off.
Not as good
awesome.
as Desmond Bain. He's just like definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. But often has moments where he is.
You could argue in spirit he is.
I'm a big BC guy. What about this guy whose name I've forgotten? It starts with an M.
Chimezie Metu.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, Chimezie Metu. Where are we putting this king?
If you ask Mark Schindler, it's S tier.
Chimezie is actually really fun, and I probably only hold that opinion because of Mark.
Yeah, he's big on the Metu propaganda.
He said #Metu. I'm sorry, that's not funny. Where are we actually putting him?
He's like a C tier player.
C tier.
Yeah.
I love everyone in the chat saying things like a B for Brandon, B for Bobby Portis, A minus for Aaron Gordon. That's really what this is about sorting these guys alphabetically.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
I'm thinking D for Metu.
Metu is probably D, actually.
Metu's probably D.
He wasn't
right
bad,
there with Poku
but
and Neesmith. What about Chris Boucher? Is it C for Chris?
No.
I used to say he would probably be like a C tier player, but now I probably lean a little more D tier.
Yeah.
He has gotten worse.
The newest member of the OKC Thunder, Davis Bertans, where are we putting him? Also
Hold
D?
on, let's slow down a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Chris Boucher doesn't even shoot 50% from the field.
Really? Wow. As a big
I mean,
man.
he's technically a power forward. He's 6'9", but like he kind of plays definitely down low more than he does like off the dribble or on the wing. It's like, dog, you got to shoot 50%. Come on now. And his 3-point shot used to be like the cool thing about him. It was like, oh, Chris Boucher can shoot threes, and then now he can't shoot threes anymore. He had that one season where he shot 38% on 4 attempts a game, and then now it's like, okay, he's shooting 32.8. So, but he's still like I love watching Chris Boucher. Like, even if Chris Boucher is not necessarily a winning player, like not necessarily the best basketball player, it's still fun watching him because he's a freak athlete.
Yeah. I remember when he was a scrub bench warmer, getting like 5 or 6 minutes a game type thing, fresh in the league. I was doing like some kind of hypothetical trade proposal or some crap like that on a podcast. I was like, yeah, throw in Chris Boucher or whoever the hell this is, whatever, salary filler. I had no idea that he was a cousin to the legendary footballer Bobby Boucher. Speaking of cousins, Dean Wade. Where are we putting him?
Why is that? Speaking of cousins,
he's Dwayne Wade's cousin, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were saying you looked inbred.
You're on a roll right now.
Thanks. I got my coffee.
Dean Wade was like a player that, to start this last season, I was like, maybe this guy is the solution to the forward spot for the Cavs. Because for the first 16 games, he started half of them. Before he got hurt, he was shooting 42% from 3 on 3.5 attempts, and he's a relatively decent size, solid enough defensively. So I was like, hey, maybe this guy could be pretty good for them. And then he got hurt, and then it wasn't amazing and played less for the second half of the season. So it's kind of hard to I mean, he was more bad than he was good, but he was also bad after being hurt. So I don't know.
Sounds like D tier. It sounds like he has D tier written all over him.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I guess.
D for Dean. What about D for Davis Bertans? Or is this more of an F? He is a Thunder.
I will say he shot pretty good last year, which is like the only thing you want out of him.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's
like
really if we ignore the massive contract, this guy's not the worst player.
It's not even
floor,
a massive contract anymore.
Yeah, he's making like $18 million a year, right? Something like that.
Like obviously
$18
$18 million
a D or F tier player. I mean, that's
right.
That's
but like
very generous salary.
No one's season was ruined because they have $18 million of dead cap. That's not enough money to be really that consequential. I mean, I don't know. He's someone that I wouldn't hate if he played like 12 minutes a game. But yeah, he's probably D. Yeah,
Chat really wants
D
us
tier.
to do
He's
F
D
tier,
tier for
but
sure.
we'll do D. What about
he can at least come in and be like a spark plug. If you're at the end of the game and you need a desperation 3, he has a role.
Yeah, someone in the chat said can't be F if you're a specialist. I think that's kind of fair, unless you're just bad at what you specialize.
That's basically what I've been saying is like F tier is just like, what do you bring to the table that's positive?
Yeah. Derek Jones Jr.
I thought Derek Jones was a really good pickup by the Mavericks.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
He might end up being really impactful for them. And I really felt like he was underutilized in Chicago. There was specifically a lot of him playing small ball center where he was like surprisingly effective. But I would probably go C tier, honestly. I feel like he's definitely better than everyone in D.
Derek Jones Jr. cracking our C tier. Popping our C for cherry. What about
It's gonna be a long episode.
That's definitely a C right there. Dorian Finney-Smith, it's got to be a C player.
DFS. More like CFS, according to you, Jacob.
No, we're not. Are we thinking he's worse than that? He didn't play good in Brooklyn, but it was.
He got that contract and like.
Yeah, he wasn't good last year for sure. He was bad last year, but he was really good the 3 years before that. So do we chalk that up to a bad season, or are we just going off of last season? Like,
I mean, I've kind of just been going off last season, but he's definitely his defense is better than anyone in D really, as far as like what he does.
Well, not just make him a mediocre specialist.
I feel like Dorian can still be just as good as Derek Jones Jr. is.
Oh no, Alex has entered the nether.
Off as a
Don't worry. Just leave and come back, and everything will be all right. It's so strange how that happens. That's like the only problem we've ever had with StreamYard, and it's only been happening during September.
Yeah, I guess he probably has to go in D just based on last season. I think there's plenty of potential he could be.
I got a
again
rant.
next year.
I got a rant real quick.
Go off.
And Rudy does I want to point this out to the chat. Rudy does a fantastic job of producing this whole thing, running the StreamYard and everything. I have been on countless podcasts at this point that do not use StreamYard, and they never have any of the issues that we have. None of us have any particularly special equipment. We all have pretty standard equipment for people who do podcasts. We don't do anything crazy with our audio, and for some reason, we seem to have so many problems with our microphones just deciding to go out for no reason. We have problems getting graphics to show up on the screen. We have problems getting clips to roll, all sorts of things that nobody else on any podcast seems to have. And the common denominator is that they don't use StreamYard. So all that's to say is I'm starting to not be a fan of StreamYard and am advocating for us to find something new.
So we're not getting a StreamYard sponsorship is what you just made sure happens.
Apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen a StreamYard sponsorship in my life, but yeah, it's been a rough month for our streaming tech. That being said, where are we putting DFS? D?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I was cool with C, but okay.
Which
It
I
seemed
don't
like
know,
you
last
guys were
year he was
originally
bad.
C.
Last year,
Yeah, last year was bad.
I'm fine. I think D is appropriate. I just want to put that with the asterisk that if he was a C level player next year, wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
Honestly, I think he has to go in B.
Just B, not even B plus A minus. I figure he's more like a Aaron Gordon than he is like a Brandon Clark.
Obvious.
I don't know if I can put you next to Brandon Clark and Bobby Portis if you're like a Defensive Player of the Year finalist.
Yeah, I guess B plus is more fair. His offense is just really disappointing.
It is. I agree.
It's like people were giving him Tim Duncan comparisons. Tim Duncan was excellent on both ends of the floor, not just one. He was more excellent on defense, but doesn't mean you can just be mid.
Right.
Yeah.
Niang's probably a C.
What don't like Sixers call him like
we got a donut.
They call him like a school bus or something like that.
A school bus?
That's a wacky ass
like
name.
a hotter version of Chris Bosh. Man, don't diss Chris Bosh like that.
Thank you,
Chris
Mia.
Bosh is an interesting looking guy. Remember when everyone would talk about how much he looked like a
minivan?
dinosaur?
That's what it is. They say.
Oh, okay.
They say Niang's built like a minivan. That's what school bus. I was saying.
Not gonna lie, Alex, you're out of sync again.
Yeah. What's funny is seeing him laugh through it, but or hearing him laugh.
It was really sad. It was really sad taking that from him. Like knowing he was so happy, and I had to be the one to break the news that it was a problem again. I think Alex might be right. I think we might have to explore some alternatives here.
Yeah, it could be about that time. It's been so good to us otherwise, though. It's just been this month.
Oh well.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just do this while he's gone. Giannis right into S, right? Super easy to do.
We don't need to have a conversation about that.
The real question is Giannis the best player in the NBA or not? Or is it Jokic? It's just him and Jokic are the only contenders, right? Yeah. Alex, no disparagement on Giannis being an S tier.
No.
Can you imagine if he did?
He's like, actually, I have a lot to say about this. He doesn't make his free throws. Brook Lopez carries the defense.
Giannis got wrecked by Hemi. Dude, everybody in that series got wrecked by Jimmy Butler. I don't think Giannis deserves the lone slander.
Yeah. I will say in doing my compiling of these headshots of NBA players today, I noticed that Georges Niang had an updated player head for some reason. You can see he doesn't have the little 6 patch, and he is indeed in his Cavs gear. And Grant Williams is photoshopped into a Mavs jersey.
Why?
Someone inside the NBA is a big Mavs fan or a big Grant Williams
definitely
fan.
C tier, right?
Has to be, right?
He's not B. He's not quite.
He's
good.
not B.
I think he had
but
moments
I'm
of being
realizing, I'm realizing now that we're approaching the conundrum that we always seem to encounter, where either everybody in D needs to go to F and everybody in C needs to go to D, and C becomes a new tier, or we need to create a new tier between B and
I'm
C.
not seeing that. I think we could move like 2 people down to F for the
We're
sake
definitely going to run into that problem soon, and this is the first time that I felt like there needs to be a C plus or a B minus.
I don't know. I think we're fine. I
don't know. Grant. I know it's like
I think Grant is
like hate on Grant, but he's still a productive player for the most part.
Right, but like C is still like pretty good solid rotation guy.
He's
B
better
like,
than Niang and Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah, he is.
You cannot argue that he is on that same level.
Is. But B is like excellent role player, and he's not an excellent role player.
No, but I just don't agree with him being on the same tier as those guys. I just think he's better.
I mean, let's see how it shapes out more before we mess with things.
I'll tentatively move him up, but I'll put a pin in the fact that we'll consider moving him down.
I mean, he's definitely worse than Brandon Clark and Bobby Portis.
I agree. But I would say you should stay on C for now, and we can reevaluate later about building or adding a new team.
Yeah, there are so many people who act like Grant Williams is just ass, and he's not. He's pretty good. And he has a fat ass, too, so that's also a bonus.
According to you, he almost died out there when
Dude, a 280-pound man stepping on someone's head. It's such a stretch to suggest that could have been deadly.
They do it in WWE all the time, bro. Where are we ranking this guy whose name also escapes me?
Haywood Highsmith.
Haywood Highsmith.
Oh,
he's a really good defender, but that's kind of all he does right now.
He's probably an F.
He's probably a D tier. I mean, he was getting like meaningful minutes in the playoffs at times. He was kind of used in
meaningful.
bursts.
I mean, he definitely played.
He played impactful minutes where he was being used in a role that he excelled in, which is more than I can say for. Well, F is pretty underpopular, but there's more than I can say.
Why is it
the guys in D?
Oops!
Oh my goodness! Did we just lose everything?
Yeah. Let me refresh the page.
Oh no!
No idea what just happened there.
Well,
we might have to field some questions while Alex or Rudy puts everything in order.
Right. Yeah.
I don't.
What the fuck?
What happened,
Alex? I think you shit talked StreamYard, and it was like, I'm gonna prove you right. I'm going.
Yeah, that's what happened.
You know when you call someone an asshole and they become a bigger asshole?
Here's a fun question for the chat. What other software should we use to stream the podcast?
Yeah, you guys all have podcasts.
Any recommendations?
You're
let
fucking
us know.
Early to mid-20s white dudes with nothing better to do with your time.
All right,
That's
we're back.
Podcast demographic.
OnlyFans Fortnite. We could do all this in Fortnite.
Fortnite. You're just hitting the buzzwords.
Well, that's what the chat's saying. So
we need to stream our podcast on Fortnite.
It'd be like that Travis Scott concert,
right? Travis Scott concert, but it's just the Hoops Cast. It's like, wow, not the Hoops Cast. Shit, I just did it. The old name, the Shootaround. They're like, yeah, Fortnite, but it's the Shootaround. It's like, wow, they've officially adapted every IP that exists. They're down to the Shootaround.
You said you got the tier list back up?
Yeah. I just was trying to hide all these ads on the page.
Oh.
This was the one of the primary reasons that I wanted to stick with Photoshop originally, but then the tier list pod with Tier List Maker went so much smoother that I did not fight it. That being said,
are we on Haywood Highsmith?
Haywood Highsmith, D tier for sure. D for defense.
Yes.
Speaking of defense, Herb Jones, aka Herbert.
You got a B, right?
Yeah, I'd say probably B.
B it is. Jabari Smith Jr. I feel like this is he could be in like 3 tiers. This isn't a guy where he could be between 2. You know what I mean? Where are we
I feel
putting?
like depending on the day, he's B or C. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know that he's gotten to be like super consistent yet. Maybe I'm wrong. I obviously don't know as much about the Houston Rockets as I could. I mean, his rookie year was not great. I don't know. The problem is I feel like next year he will definitely be a B tier player, but he's probably C based on his rookie year.
Mia throwing us another $5. Thank you very much for your donation. She says,
Yes, thank you.
Jabari face
What
looks
is
like
with-
a brick. Give him an F for failure.
Mia apparently is the roast master general here.
I'd say Jabari is a C right now, but I think
Yeah.
he will probably be a comfortably B tier player. This
I really like Jabari.
if not better. I'm excited for him. He looked really good in summer league,
And
and
plus,
the Rockets were using him.
I was about to say he's got a coach who like will actually use him now. So, what about this guy from the Blazers whose name also?
Oh, that's Jabari Walker, right?
There it is. Yeah, Jabari
I've
Walker.
seen him play in person. He played terrible.
Therefore, F, right?
I mean, what does?
He was a rookie, so like
Yeah, what does he do?
Yeah, and he was like drafted at the end of the 2nd round too, if I remember correctly, based on my.
He shot
little bit of
terribly
research.
from the field, terribly from 3. Played 11 minutes per game. I think he has to be F.
Sounds like F to me. Sorry, Jabari Walker.
Get fucking that dude out of there, because I don't want to put that on Jabari Walker that he has to sit next to that fucking guy.
yeah, I was
All
gonna say
right.
I don't even want Anthony Lamb on the list.
I considered not putting him on there, but he just played so much that I couldn't deny the fact that he could be
Steve
worth.
Kerr loses
being
all
an
of
F
his
tier.
credit from the
The two Warriors
championships
fans,
for that.
the 2 Warriors fans that defend Anthony Lamb can take it up with us after the pod. But
Right, meet us outside. Where's this Hawks
Please
player?
don't. I have guns. It will not end well for you.
what is that? Is that Jalen Johnson?
Yes,
C tier.
Yeah.
easy
that
C.
Sounds right based on my limited
C.
knowledge.
Jermichael Green, Grizzlies legend. D tier? Like he's a useful role player, but he's not good. He's not F.
There was Jermichael Green had a moment where he was like an excellent role player, and it felt like he reached the peak of that and then just fell off hard. Like the moment
It was
he left
funny.
the Grizzlies.
It was funny during the Lakers series against the Warriors. They like rolled out Jermichael Green as like the small ball 5. They were like, this could be the move that kind of unlocks everything for the Warriors, and then it did nothing.
It's like, dude,
It did nothing.
He's a small ball 5, but he practically is a 5 because he does not move his feet like a power forward anymore. He's probably
they were like, well, he'll shoot corner 3s, and it's like, okay.
So yeah, let's
He's
just
not
get
stopping Anthony
let's
Davis.
just get a robot and put it in the corner, and it will shoot 3s when we pass to it, and it won't do anything else.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think D or F. Yeah,
I mean, Jaren A for sure.
yeah.
He's the epitome of A. Not on Giannis's tier, but better than Aaron Gordon and Evan Mobley.
thank
The epitome of
God.
an A
Thank
tier.
fucking God.
Well, you thought
Now,
it
if
was
we're
gonna put up a
talking
fight for S
strictly
tier?
team, if we're talking strictly Team USA, he's D tier.
But
Grab
we're
a
talking
freaking
Team
rebound,
USA
dude.
Not his
practice.
fault.
If we're talking about practice for FIBA, he was voted the best player, so he should be S.
Cue
Uh,
Allen Iverson rant.
yeah. We agreed on both Grizzlies players in this video. I'm thrilled that I'm not going to wake up to fucking bullshit ass texts. You don't have to argue about anything. We
My
can move
blood is
on.
boiling today because you didn't put Luke Kennard on A tier.
What
Random
can I
Rudy,
say?
I'm eating breakfast.
see.
Leave me alone.
Sorry, I woke up with a nuke on my mind, but I will say, you know what boiled my blood last time was the
His name
immediate
Nuke?
dismissal. Yeah, Nuke Kennard.
Nuke
You know?
Kennard.
He dropped
I've
bombs
never
out
heard
there.
that.
What?
I know someone who's friends with Luke Kennard, and I've never known that.
you know. But I was a bit bothered last podcast from the immediate write-off putting Paul George in S tier. I'm like, I went after the podcast
because
and
he's
looked at
not
the
a
numbers and was like, yeah,
superstar.
he's very good though. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
he's a
We
very
moved
good
on.
all-star, but he's not a superstar.
Vando.
I hate that. And I
Vando.
hate that NBA fans cannot like just settle on like what is obviously a superstar
Yes.
and what is like. To me, the definition is not that blurry. Like it's pretty
Yes.
clear. Like you know if someone's a superstar, and then you know if someone's not. Like
Yeah, like it's really like the most eye test aspect of the game. Obviously, there are like superstar level numbers, but sometimes people will put up superstar level numbers and they don't really pass that eye test. Like a superstar, you feel you can tell a player is a superstar when they're playing your team. That's the way that I would put it. If you're getting that feeling like, man, what the fuck do we do? That's a superstar. Like maybe it's a night by night thing, but if every single time you're getting that feeling, then you're dealing with a superstar player. PG is very, very, very good, but he's not leading a team to a championship, and that's pretty much my threshold for superstar is I at least believe you are capable of being that guy. Yeah. And I don't.
Paul George used to be a S tier.
Yeah.
He's not anymore.
Yeah. Just stuck in the past, man. What can I say? Jared Vando. Where are we putting him?
I mean, you think Allen Iverson's better than Harden, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not crazy for that one. That's fucking normal.
No, you're definitely actually crazy for that, and so is everyone else. C, though, for sure.
Yeah. C for better than Poku, but not as good as Herb Jones. Good defense, shrunk in the playoffs, bad offense.
I think Zay just put it perfectly about PG. He said, if PG isn't a superstar, he's literally as good as you can be without being.
100%.
I completely agree
he's
with that.
He's like 2 spots away from like there's probably like maybe 1 or 2 other guys who aren't superstars that are better than Paul George. I don't know who they are necessarily off the top of my head, but like that's vaguely where he would be in my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, he should have been in his own A+ tier. Mm-hmm. But Vando and C, Alex, you agree?
That's cool. Yeah,
he would have been B
mean,
if
Utah,
he didn't
probably would
disappear
have
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's just he's so weird, dude. He's such a weird player.
I really love him though. He's one of my favorite players.
He's just useless on offense. Like
Uncle
genuinely
Jeff.
Useless.
Yeah.
Good old Uncle Jeff. I think everyone's obviously talking about Bruce Brown leaving the Nuggets, and that makes sense. Obviously, Bruce Brown was very, very, very key, but I think it is unsung and undermentioned just how thin Denver's rotation was in their playoff run. They literally played 8 dudes, and of those 8 dudes, 2 of them played 15 minutes or less. One of them was Christian Brown, one of them was Jeff Green, and the other one was Bruce Brown. The only thing that's left is Christian Brown, who played about like 10 minutes a game-ish in the playoffs. Now he has a dramatically increased role, and now you're looking for 2 guys to be rotation players in a playoff setting as a tail sneaks into the bottom of the frame of Alex's camera. That completely distracted me. Damn it, Wilson. What was I saying?
I'll be honest, I wasn't entirely following what you were saying.
Yeah, you said less than 15. I think you mean more than 15 minutes because like no way Bruce Brown played less than 15 minutes.
No, Christian Brown.
Okay.
So this is what I was saying. Christian Brown is now taking Bruce Brown's spot as top dog off of the bench. Can he handle that? And then second to that, there are 2 other spots in that rotation that's like, who the fuck is filling those spots?
Mia is dominating our chat.
Yeah,
right
what
now.
is happening with Mia?
Left and right? Someone else want to read this one because it's just not sit right with me uttering this about. Jeff Green.
Thank you for the donation, but I
read that as UNC and I was so confused.
It's been on the screen. Yeah, I was gonna say we can take it off now.
Yeah, but Jeff Green.
You can keep saying wild shit if you're gonna pay us.
Yeah,
just don't expect us to always read it. Jeff Green, D tier, probably up there with I mean, C tier is understandable, but like D tier feels
Yeah.
more realistic.
Yeah. It's
think
like
the thing
he's
is-
gotta like take a 4-hour nap before every game if
Yeah,
he's
I
gonna
mean,
be a C tier, but
He
he
only
can do
averaged
it.
8 points a game. You know?
Whoa!
I mean,
Oh,
Big
Jesus.
dono.
Someone gave us
$20.
$20 to talk more about Paul George. Aramis Jones says, I think Paul George, as of now, is in the Brandon Ingram caliber. Separate from prime Paul George, they're kind of the same tier, in my opinion. I think BI has more potential than right now, but he's got to be consistent. Did we put him in the same tier as Brandon Ingram, or did we separate them? I don't quite remember.
hey, you gave us money, so I'm gonna agree with you. Spot on.
I definitely think they were in the same tier, but like there's still a difference inside that tier, and I'm quite confident Paul George is better than Brandon Ingram. But it's not as big of a gap as it was not that long ago.
Yeah, if I remember right, Brandon Ingram and Paul George are in the same tier above
both an
Mikal
A.
Bridges. Yeah, so you're more or less correct based on our analysis last podcast. If you want to hear more about our Paul
So
George
technically,
opinions,
you're right in saying they're the same tier.
Yeah,
but I'm quite confident which one is the better player.
Remy said, "Alex, I take bribes hoops." You're correct. If you want me to agree with a basketball,
dude, I'll
take,
show feet.
Just give me money.
It's
Yeah,
happened.
give us
It's
some
happened
money.
on this podcast.
You don't want to see my feet. They are freshly
I don't
want
to see your feet.
To be fair.
The-
Is that not a normal? I guess most people don't
I've
have
never
hobbit
shaved
feet.
my feet in my
I
life.
think most people don't have hobbit feet like I do. I have to shave my feet because it like the socks pull on my hair and it hurts.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Your
Jacob
life
really
is
outing
insane,
himself.
Jacob.
No, I get hairs.
Jacob's
like this.
never had a good night of sleep in his life, and his
Never worn
hair
socks and it
tugs on
didn't
his
hurt.
socks.
Black Chihuahua
like
was asking
think
how
of
much
a
for
hobbit and make him tall. That's basically what my body type is like.
All right, we're losing people. We got to get back to the basketball.
Believe it or not, ever since we brought up feet, we've only lost 3 people, and we've got them back now.
Man,
They're-
the real
Welcome
the real
back. We're
fans
sorry.
are
We're
here.
sorry.
The real
Sorry,
feet
guys.
fans are here. Now, what I got to say about Jeremy Grant.
Oh, boy.
I said I think maybe my favorite quote that I've had in recent history is that all power forwards are Jeremy Grant.
Technically, you said all forwards are Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But he's a power forward and he leans more power forward. I think definitely B. He
Not
has
B+,
this
but B?
annoying shit with his shot selection, but he still ultimately ends up efficient enough, still shoots well from 3. And though he's not as good of a defender as he was in like OKC, for example, he's definitely still in B tier. I don't like him as much as I liked role player version of him. Like he still is a role player, but like, he's taking shots like he's more than that. And that part's annoying. If he would just be content being a super efficient 17, he'd probably sneak into the B+ tier. But he'd rather average a mid-ass efficiency 22, 23.
Jacob, I'm actually about to burst your bubble real hard here.
Did he
averaged 20.5 points per game.
Yeah.
He shot 47.5% from the field, 40% from 3 on 5.7 attempts, and 81% from the line. He shot 60.1% true shooting, 3% better than league average. He was. I agree with your gripes about Jeremy Grant and his shot selection, but I will say he was really efficient this year.
Yeah.
So we putting him in B+, A-, or are we leaving him in the Brandon Clark tier?
I think the best version of Jeremy Grant would be in a B+ tier, but right now the way he plays would probably be B tier. He's probably a little too good for B tier, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think just in terms of like the
Literally,
whole contributing to
Jeremy Grant,
winning thing, whatever.
Take 3 bad mid-range shots per game out of his game, and he is confidently B+, A-.
So he's like Dylan Brooks then. Got it.
No.
Jeremy
No. Dylan Brooks is take 10 bad shots out of his diet. Not 3. There's a big difference.
One every time he checks in, at least. Jeremy Sochan. This is an interesting one to me because
Sohan.
Why is there a C in there?
We'll see. In other languages, they spell things differently than us.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I forgot about other languages. Where are we putting Jeremy Sohan?
Literally every American ever.
That's one where I'm
C,
sincerely
right?
making the mistake, not just like fucking trolling, reading it as it,
You would not do that.
Yes. I want to clarify because
you're not the type of guy you're not the type of guy to fuck up Giannis's name for a bit.
People in the comments get really mad when we make jokes to Rudy. They're like, poor Rudy, like they mistreat him.
Right.
I want to clarify.
Dude,
Rudy would tell us if we ever cross, like we're just ribbing each other.
Right, yeah. No, this is a safe space.
The thing that really bothers me about it is we are playing it up for the show. We are not dunking on Rudy.
Well, you
constantly.
are. I rarely dunk on Rudy.
I do it more than you do. But sometimes Rudy does something annoying enough that you'll hop on the bandwagon and dunk as well.
It's usually just when he mispronounces names. That makes my blood boil.
And like on the podcast, I'm a little bit more just aggressive because I'm trying to be entertaining, and maybe it's just too mean. But now Rudy was famously chained in my basement for years. That part wasn't okay, but since then,
I have since escaped.
Since then, our relationship has gotten a lot healthier.
Right, dude, that one video where Rudy edited it, where he falls out of the closet and he's tied up and he like does a quick promo for something, and then it goes back to the video.
Good. That shit was so good because I went out, I had to do something while he was at my place, and I was like, "Yeah, I just filmed some sort of promo," and I'm out on the town. He goes, "Check the new video," and I watch it and just like I'm dying in my car, and I look over and there's this fucking old dude just looking at me, judging me. But anyways, for real though, Rudy, when did we meet? 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
We've known each other for a very long time. Rudy is probably my best friend. Don't tell me what my relationship with him is, you fucking bitch.
So anyway, like Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah. C tier, D tier? Is he F tier and I just don't know it?
He's C.
Yeah, probably C.
Right there with
he talks like he's A- often, which is interesting, which has developed a weirdly volatile fan base for a player that I feel like is otherwise not that consequential, you know what I mean? Like I feel like Jeremy Sochan. So I just did what you did.
It's got your ass.
Yeah, Jeremy Sohan. I have a Spurs series, and I've been saying it multiple times over, and then you did that to me. But Jeremy is not the type of player who should have super volatile super volatile opinions. But because he talks shit, everyone's really volatile on it. But yeah, he's very much a C tier player.
I wonder how people feel about his hair who don't like him. Jimmy Butler, I feel like this is a controversial one, really. Like, I feel like he should be an A or S for sure, but like a lot of people are going to say S. A lot of people are going to say that that's crazy.
Listen, in the terms of
I want to see what you guys say.
In the terms of like knowing when you see a superstar, Jimmy, I know a superstar when I see one, and Jimmy plays like a superstar. He was about to go on literally one of the greatest individual playoff runs ever, and then he got fucking injured versus the Knicks, and that just kind of fucked things up. And he didn't really recover from that. But that first round versus the Bucks, I don't think an all-star level player is ever doing something like that. Like you against that team, not really. Like in the regular season, he plays like just an all-star for sure, but playoffs are when I think you really determine the type of dude you are. And when he's in that setting, more often than not, he plays like a superstar. In the case of that one Bucks series where they got just destroyed in that one round, that was awful. But everything else has been good.
Yeah, someone said Jimmy is A plus. I feel like that's fair and reasonable,
The
but
thing,
I like the way you put it. When in terms of when you see a superstar, you just know Jimmy Butler is the epitome of that guy for sure. And I just wish he didn't do that Kobe thing where like he treats the regular season like it's practice for the playoffs. You know, it'd be cool to see
Kobe
him.
does that. I don't know if Kobe's the best example of that. LeBron's probably the best example of that. But sure.
Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, when it matters, he plays like that. Sometimes he can be annoying, and he gets himself into corners by putting fucking stupid quotes out there. I guarantee a win. We lost. I guarantee a win. We lost. Okay, for real, I guarantee a win.
Still lost.
Also, anytime he smiles on the bench, ESPN posts a video and they're like, Jimmy unbothered by third loss in the finals. I'm like, what? He probably just like heard a funny joke or something.
Instagram inspirational influencer vibe around him. I don't like it.
Jimmy Butler's all about the grind set.
Yeah, but like another thing about Jimmy, I don't think he gets enough credit for the fact that he's also been excellent in the playoffs before Miami. Like the Bulls damn near beat the Cavaliers in 2015 as Jimmy was pretty fucking excellent. And then the Sixers, he played excellent for them in the playoffs, if I'm remembering correctly. And I think Jimmy was good in that one Celtics series that we lost after going up 2-0 on their home court. But he has a good track record as the main option in a playoff setting. It just took getting the right environment around him to take that far.
Alex is going to come in here and say, you guys are both wrong. He's C tier.
I don't think
no, he's S tier. I was just curious where the vibe was. I was going to put him S tier.
Yeah.
I understand why it's a conversation, though. That's the treating the regular season like practice thing is like, it kind of just gets you in trouble in that way.
Yeah.
JC, not that one. John Collins, where are we putting him? Probably B tier, right? Right there with Bobby Portis, Brandon Clark, Herb Jones. Seems about right to me. Because he's definitely not in the Aaron Gordon tier.
This is where a B minus tier might come in handy.
Oh,
all right, do it.
B minus.
We are getting a little tight here in the C and D tier.
All right, B minus being created right now. Just like that. Now you guys can't see who's next up, but that just adds to the suspense.
Do we want to move Jabari as well as Grant up?
I'm cool with that.
Not sure I'd move Jabari up.
Grant definitely though.
Grant, yes.
Vando question mark? Because we're talking about him being B if he didn't shrink. So does that mean that he's better than Derek Jones Jr.?
Vando's enough of a specialist that I would leave him in C. Same with Derek Jones Jr. It's kind of like you have limited application, but you're still not D tier.
So, like, just to...
Ron isn't on the list because we haven't gotten to him yet, man.
He'll get there.
Why he's not there.
We're going in alphabetical order based on first name.
Yeah, Jesus.
Alphabetical order based on first name. What are the Jazz doing trading for John Collins? I know this is kind of a topic when the trade first happened, but like,
I mean,
Laurie Markkinen played about half power forward, half small forward.
Lowry got some 3 stuff, but I don't know. John Collins is such a weird player.
Undersized,
and this is why I have the opinion on John Collins that I do, is because the people who are not Atlanta fans are always like, oh, why do people like, he's good, he's a good player, like I wish my team would trade for John Collins. But Atlanta fans, pretty much every Atlanta fan I see talk about John Collins, they're like, get him off my team. Well, and that's like where I'm like, and I mean, I've watched John Collins, I understand. all of the gripes that they have with him. He is a very frustrating player.
To be fair, there are players like that where fan bases just super rapidly hate them, and it's like it's just because they're a little too close to it, you know.
I agree. Yeah.
Like I think Grant Williams with the Celtics is a great example because there's a lot of Celtics fans that fucking despised Grant Williams. A lot of people were happy to see him go to Dallas. In the case of John, to give him a little bit of a break, I feel like every single year he has been in a worse and worse fit for like what he brings to the table. When he first broke onto the scene, people were talking about Trey and Collins like Nash and Amari. And very much it didn't seem like that crazy of a comparison. John Collins was like pretty damn effective in the pick and roll. And then as time progressed, they traded for Clint Capella, who got a lot of that screen action himself. And B, they just progressively became way, way less pick and roll heavy as far as I remember. Every time I do this, I see Alex start to type, and I'm like, according to Synergy.
I'm responding to a chat.
I got you.
I just
the
respond
one
to
about power forward or Jimmy? Question mark.
No, JT asked, Alex, as a fellow OKC fan, what do you think of a potential Siakam to OKC trade? I would be fine with it, obviously depending on what we gave up. But the problem is it sounds like he doesn't want to play anywhere other than Toronto. So if he got traded to us, it would be a rental. And the only way I'd be okay with trading for him is if we knew he was going to re-sign or if it was a sign and trade.
Or if he just got insane value and it was like, why not?
Yeah, it's like a low price. Why not buy, even if it is just a rental?
The price in that situation would have to be like, we'll give you some second round picks.
I mean, you have enough fucking.
We're not in a year where we should be like going for rentals. You do rentals when you're like, okay, we're going to win a championship. Like our goal is to win a championship. We're kind of just still in the like, we're going for the playoffs.
I think we should move. Probably should move Chris Boucher down to F. Maybe I'm
really just to free up some space in D tier.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jabari Walker all on his lonesome.
I'd probably move Dean Wade to F as well.
All right, Dean
he's
Wade
a big
and
forward
Boucher
that can shoot.
Going down.
But all right.
Okay, Dean Wade can stay.
Us Dean Wade truthers will hold the fort.
Let's focus on Pascal Siakam though, because I would love to go ahead and jump the alphabetical order, do the ranking of Pascal Siakam, and talk more about what are some other potential destinations for him besides OKC, because OKC has been the one for almost.
I think Atlanta has been the biggest one that's been rumored lately. Sacramento is also one that has been talked about, but I think it's mainly those three.
What would you give up as Sacramento? I'm pretty curious. Y'all are both a little bit more familiar with the Kings than me, for sure.
I don't know what their draft capital situation is because I feel like it's primary. Like I feel like he's just going to be traded for like 2 firsts and expiring salary. That would be like maybe one of those expiring salaries has to be like a decent player. But yeah, some combination of that for any of those teams. Ideally lesser picks.
What about just like Keegan Murray?
No, you're not getting Keegan Murray. You're not getting Keegan Murray. No way are they trading Keegan Murray for Siakam. Not unless they got like maybe a guarantee from Siakam that he's going to re-sign. That's probably the only context they'd think about that.
What about like Onyeka Okongwu for Atlanta? Would you trade him for Pascal Siakam, knowing this is a rental situation?
That would be a step backwards because the only reason it would be worth it for them to get Siakam is knowing that they also have Okongwu, because that's an insanely good defensive front court.
Yeah.
But if you have to give up Okongwu to get Siakam, it's like, well, why did we trade for?
If the Hawks go another fucking year with Clint Capella as their starting center, I'm going to be pissed off. Like. Please start Onyeka Okongwu already. He has been ready for a while now.
Yeah. With all that being said, are we putting Pascal Siakam in the B+A- range, or is
he's an A
with like easily A.
Dude, he had like individually his best season last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I'm sure some people will put him in S tier just because,
I mean,
like you said,
he's
had his
other than
best season.
3-point shooting, he's pretty much excellent at everything. I mean, maybe he's just mid as a rebounder, but okay. But like, he's a excellent defender, a versatile defender. He's an excellent playmaker, pretty damn good ball handler for a big man. And his mid-range game is, I think, well above league average on high volume. Pretty damn good finisher, pretty solid post player. Like, other than shooting threes, he pretty much gets the job done at a high level every time.
It'd be cool to see him on a team like my Grizzlies that's already like loaded up and ready to contend, where he doesn't have to
6'8",
be.
brother. He's a power forward. He doesn't need to be a center size. That's the concern with like Sacramento, for example, is like, do you want two bigs who are really not going to shoot the three well? And that's just the overall thing with Siakam, you know. He had that 1 year where he shot really well, but it's just 1 year.
Besides that, any other teams that we would like to see Pascal Siakam on?
I'm kind of surprised we've spent this long.
Yeah,
trying to stretch it into a clip.
I already
7 minutes.
I really don't think we can do that because a very recent video on this channel is Pascal Siakam going to get traded? What destinations will that be? I really can't just upload the same thing, but it's us.
Just repeat that whole premise. Do the whole video right now.
We can't.
You don't have that memorized?
We can't get away with that. Sorry.
All right, Jonathan Kuminga, where's he going? This is an interesting one. You know?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Where's Cum Bucket going?
I mean, he's probably my gut inclination is to say C.
Jacob, how do you feel about that?
It's my gut inclination as well.
Y'all debate this for a second. I gotta take care of something domestic right quick. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
I mean, that's domestic is a weird choice of words.
Yeah.
He's so hard to like get a real idea of how good he is. Like when you get super inconsistent minutes and roles, it's like, do I judge you based on the minutes and roles that went well or the minutes and roles that went terribly? It's not really a fair circumstance to evaluate a player. Kuminga to me shows incredible off-ball instincts, which obviously works well within the Warriors offense, but he's not a great shooter, not really much of a playmaker from what I've seen. And I don't know that he really stands out defensively in any capacity, but he's definitely, I don't think he's bad. I might be mistaken, but I think pretty solid defender, excellent backdoor cutter, and he can force offense every once in a while.
The most profound, Kyle Kuzma has said a lot of profound things in his life. He's,
oh boy, sure has.
A modern day poet. But one of the most profound things that Kyle Kuzma has ever said is it's hard to be consistent in an inconsistent role. And I think that is like perfectly applicable to Kuminga.
I thought you were going to pull out a sarcastic quote because it's Kyle Kuzma, but that's actually just a good point.
No, yeah. Ever since I've heard that quote, like the way I evaluate players, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of
Why
nuance.
do Alex and Rusty have the same exact hair on their head and face? You know, to be fair to Alex, I was the one who did this more recently. But I did notice that I'm trying to grow my hair out really long. Alex is, I think, good where you're at. But as of right now, I've met you where you're at in hair length as I'm trying to get there. So right now we do have very similar like hair and beard and everything.
It might be time for a haircut for me.
Oh no,
we can't look like two different iterations of like the same white dude.
Don't worry, you're the hot one.
My plan was to grow it out, and now I'm like, it might be time.
Which one of you guys is Charmeleon and which one of you is Charizard? You know, we'll never know.
Charmeleon, the better one.
No.
Wow, you really don't watch
Charizard.
Pokemon.
Wow, goodness gracious.
I watched it a little bit as a kid.
That was wild.
I was a fucking poser, man. Like I got a bunch of cards, and I pretended as though I was into it, and I didn't do any of the research at all. But like everyone was doing it, so I was like, well, fuck. I don't want to be the one loser that's not into Pokemon, but I just never gave a shit.
That's sad.
I was
For
too
me-
focused on real animals. Real animals are interesting. I don't need fake ones.
You'd think it would scale like immediately and just get lost in the fictional world of all these pocket monsters, but no,
I don't know.
you're all
For-
about them real animals, huh?
For some reason, I think that's just a great way of just describing how I view things in general. I like things at least having a tinge of realism to them, to like ground it, connect it,
Where are we putting JT Thor? That's who this is.
I
Right?
have absolutely no idea.
Jacob, this is all
I-
you.
I actually do have some idea because I've seen him play live on like 3 different occasions and play like actual minutes. I would probably say F. He's bad.
Damn. All right.
He is in there because he is tall and he has a sick ass name, but that's all.
My
he's
gut
got.
reaction was saying it was going to be F. So
Yeah, like I've seen
I
him
didn't want to jump the gun
live.
on that.
I think I've seen him live more than I've seen him not live. I think I've also seen him live in the Summer League. I've seen way too much JT Thor in person.
JT says JT Thor is S based on the name alone, and I agree. Thank you, JT. Julius Randle,
Sensing some bias.
A tier.
Begrudgingly, he is A tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, a begrudging A tier.
People think way too like big brained about Julius Randle. He's a very good player. He is an all-star caliber player. Like, yes, he does a lot of things that are very annoying, but there are a lot
Yeah,
of like
I
Jaren
think-
Jackson Jr. doesn't grab a rebound. Am I not going to put him in A tier because he doesn't get a rebound? Julius Randle sometimes ISOs too much. Am I not going to put him in A tier because he ISOs too much?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, every all-star does things that are frustrating. They're still A tier players. It's like,
Yeah, I feel like so
love it or
many
hate it, he
people,
is.
like a player being frustrating and having frustrating tendencies sticks out. That's kind of the problem, is like the ugliness that Julius brings to the table is so ugly. It's really hard not to focus on, but you have to look at the whole product of what Julius is bringing to the table. I could see an argument for dropping him to A- just because his playoff track record is dog shit, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now, especially because I think he's definitely better than the people that he's above.
Real quick, we got about 300 people watching us right now, and only 60
Ooh.
likes on the stream. So I
Yeah,
need
the
about
power
40
forward
of you
position
guys
was
to
so
drop
spicy.
should
drop
have
a like on the
300
stream,
likes.
pretty please. Yeah, at least. Kai Jones, where are we putting this blue hair guy? Yeah.
I have a funny little bit about him in my upcoming video.
Didn't
on
he
Mark
just
Williams.
I don't know, was that fake? The fake report that he got released, or is it real now? Because I know I
That
saw
was
he
a
was
fake
like,
report.
I thought he was like talking shit about his fans or his teammates or something on.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
he
he
said
was,
something
yeah.
funny on Instagram.
What
Like-
was it? Because I never
So-
actually looked.
So I know the specifics of this because I'm working on a video about Mark Williams. Spoiler alert. But basically,
What?
someone commented and was like, "You're not even better than Mark Williams" or something like that, and he responded and
true.
he's like, "Find me one clip of Mark Williams pulling up going left," and I'm like, "He's a center, like, and he knows his role. Why would you even have a clip of him pulling up going left? Like, if he did that, that would be bad
The
because
fact
that's not
that-
his role.
the
Like,
fact
he's a center. What?
The fact that honestly, that mindset is probably why Kaya Jones is going to be a good player, because the fact that he's like, why aren't you doing tween hezzy splashes as a rebounding defensive role man? Like what?
What was funny? It was like
That's
the
so
image
fucking
that
funny.
that Mark replied with on his story on IG. It was just like some meme, just like me. It's just like what? It's because his own teammate
Yeah.
talking shit about him in the replies. That being said, C tier, D
Zay,
tier, where we going?
Zay said, "Find me a clip of Kaya Jones doing that." It probably exists in Summer League. Like that clip probably exists in Summer League. And if you really dug for it, I'm sure he did it a time or two. But I think he might be F, but probably D, but maybe F.
No, he's F tier. I don't want to bag too hard on him because I think it's pretty clear he's either like he's something is amiss I'm not gonna speculate, but like,
Okay.
he's an F tier player.
He said he needs to
Like
cut
we
his
all
hair.
saw the IG live, and then like
I didn't. What are we talking about? I don't know about this.
dude, he was like on IG live sweating his butt off and like rambling about how the Hornets are never gonna trade him because they're like really high on him, and it again, I'm not gonna like, I don't know the guy, but it was weird. The video was weird. You can find it afterwards, but I'll send you a link. Yeah. There's a reason, like,
Hornets.
do you guys know about like what happened with Kai Jones and everything? Rudy, you didn't see the video?
I missed this one.
Am I the only one that know? Wow, dude.
Yeah.
This is just shocking to me because this was like a big thing. Everyone was talking about it for like 2 days. Yeah, go find the video after this and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. So you'll understand what I mean. People were thinking that he was on drugs. He said he wasn't, but the video is weird. And then now he's been like going crazy on Twitter and all that. So.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of mania. Are we feeling the cat mania? What's happening here?
I would put him in B+ still.
Really? This isn't an A situation?
An A?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's Karl Anthony Towns, and like he's notoriously not good sometimes, but I figured he might still be respectable enough to put him in the same tier as Julius.
I don't think he's nah, man. I just don't think he's that much of an impactful player. His game is annoying in a lot of ways.
Shout out to this guy, said A for changed the game.
I'm going to surprise a lot of people here.
I don't get it.
Cat said he changed the game.
Yes, I recall that.
A lot of people are aware of how much I get frustrated with Cat, but I would put him A.
Jacob, do you find that convincing? Ultimately, I'm only a tiebreaker here. So
here's the thing: I think Cat should be an A, but I mean, like, you know, he should, but like, keeps being fucking annoying and bad.
You think Cat would be a lock at A if we had him in the center tier list? Because
I think
like
Cat
Rudy Gobert,
I think Cat would be a lock at A if he was healthy, and he often gets hurt and takes a long time to recover. Like, he'll play and like clearly not be fully there, and that's a big problem. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and go with A.
Yeah, I think it's hard to make the argument that he is not A. It's simply based mostly on what's in the B+ tier.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'd rather have fucking Aaron Gordon than Cat. Maybe not. You know what? I'm doing the same thing I criticized other people with.
That's the Luke Kennard, Terry Rozier.
The portability argument. Yeah. I was doing it. So I'm wrong. A tier. Fine, fair enough.
Keegan Murray. Where are we putting this twin?
I think B tier.
Solid B tier. I agree.
Yeah.
Jacob. Yeah, I broke the record for most threes in a rookie campaign last year. I didn't realize that until I saw it on Twitter.
Like today. And he wasn't that good as a rookie. But then he did become good later, so you know.
Some guy on the Spurs. Who is this fella?
Yeah, is it Charlie?
None of us know. I mean, no one's watching the fucking Spurs.
I've done some due diligence on the Spurs, and I don't know who this is. I feel is it Keita Bates-Diop? No.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
No. Yeah. I thought he's on the Suns now.
I remember. Yeah, but he's still wearing the Spurs jersey in the picture. Yeah. So Bates-Diop.
Oh yeah.
Where are we putting him?
Okay. Yeah, that's throwing me off because I just know him as a Sun now.
Wasn't he like a lot better with the Suns or with the or this past season? People were talking about him. He had a pretty good season.
40% from three, which was the thing he needed to put together because he was pretty solid at everything else.
Slot him next to JaMychal Green or next to the cum bucket?
Anyways, role player shit.
I think probably C or D. Probably a little too good for D.
Yeah, I'm good with C.
Alex, this is all you. Cambridge Williams, I think.
I mean, he missed some time towards the end of last season. But I think when he's, fully healthy, I'd probably say B minus.
Yeah, I was thinking B minus.
All right. Cameron
I'm
He's a
big-
very good player.
Yeah, I
It's
really
just
like Henrik
limited
Lundin.
applications.
Jacob, are you gonna try to campaign for anything other than Kevin Durant in S tier, or are we just gonna put him in S and move on?
Yeah, he's an S tier player. I'm not that. I can be I'm gonna be a hater, but I'm not gonna be a liar.
Hold on a second. This guy named Stretch Big in the chat just made a reference to a podcast from 3 months ago or something where you let a burp out on stream and you just started spamming hashtag burp in the chat. I cannot believe he's back. Thank you, Stretch Big.
That's a real fan right there because I don't remember that shit.
Let's see. I feel like I just dropped someone in here willy-nilly on accident. No. Okay. Kevin Love. Where are we putting him?
Am I going crazy, or did Kevin Knox appear out of nowhere for 2 seconds and now he's gone?
Yeah, that's what it was. I grabbed Kevin Knox
I was
instead of Kevin Love. I was like, something's wrong here. I know I didn't grab Kevin Love.
Kevin Knox is
schizophrenia's here. There it is.
Firmly an
Starting
F.
to hallucinate Kevin Knox on my screen.
We got another dono.
Yeah, she said S for snake. Thank you, RMS, for the other $20.
Get it? Because Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. You guys remember when that happened?
That's a hilarious joke. I'm gonna laugh. You pay, I laugh at jokes.
Oh man,
your opinions. I'll laugh at your jokes.
Keep $20.
I will be your whore.
In all seriousness, thank you for the donation.
Yes, that's awesome.
Helps keep the show going. Do appreciate you very much, RMS. So Kevin Knox legit an F, or are we just trolling with that? I thought that he actually had some upside. Okay. Kevin Love. It's like he's either really okay or bad. So what are we doing here?
The playoffs, to me, he is comfortably a B minus player based on the playoffs, but his regular season numbers are horrible.
If I remember right, his first 2 weeks of the season, he looked really good, and then he just fell off of a cliff before the Cavs let him go.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that the Cavs let him go because, he played bad, but what was the point of that? Did he ask? I don't think he asked.
I guess Evan Mobley just needed more time. So
well, you could have just played. Kevin Love was bad enough. You could just not play him that much.
I think C is fine.
Yeah.
C tier for
the playoffs earned him an honorary C nod.
I mean, I would argue.
I think you can make the same argument for Jeff Green.
Mm-hmm.
So is he on the Jeff Green tier, or is Jeff Green?
I don't know. I felt like
C tier?
I personally felt like he was a D in the regular season and a C in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Man, we might need to add another tier.
I think I think Kevin was a little better than Jeff in the playoffs, though. Maybe I don't know. I can't in my head remember Kevin Love and Jeff Green's 2023 playoff numbers.
Yeah.
Not a real fan.
Yeah.
Casual.
They should probably be on the same tier. If we're taking the playoffs that heavily into account, which I'm not saying we should do that, they're either both on D tier or they're both on C tier.
I'd rather bring Jeff up personally.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, now that we're talking about it,
I don't think anybody else in D is a real playoff rotation player. And Jeff Green
except
was.
Maybe Haywood Highsmith, and I need to see him do it.
And that's select time.
Frequently.
He played, didn't he play 0 minutes and then play 36 minutes the next game in some series?
Yeah, that's true. But I think he had a couple of games like that in the Knicks series. I don't remember.
Yeah, he stood out a couple of times in the playoffs. He had a game where he scored. He had an 18-point game in the finals. He had a 15-point game during the Boston series. Those are really the only ones where he jumped off the page. Yeah.
I mean, if you had an 18-point game in the finals, I feel like you deserve a C tier just for that alone.
Haywood Highsmith moving up, fattening up.
I'm not putting you in C tier for one game. And Highsmith was good in more than just one game. I'm not saying that's all he was, but there's just not enough for me to put him in C tier yet.
Yeah.
Not that like C tier is really some esteemed group to aspire for, but
I just know when I'm out there hooping in my backyard as a little kid, dribbling around, pretending to do moves, I'm thinking one day I'm gonna make it into C tier power forward tier list on the Shootaround podcast as an NBA player.
I thought you were saying as a kid you were shooting around, and when the shot would go up, you would yell, "Hi, Smith."
Right, I could see into the future then. Kyle Anderson, for me, this is definitive B minus. Like I don't think there's any mistaking Kyle Anderson for being.
I'm not
anything
gonna
on the
lie.
level as
Among
Ben
our
Williams.
friend group, everybody was shitting on Kyle Anderson in the playoffs, even when he was playing decent. I don't.
Yeah, I mean he's a
I don't
funny
know what
player to
that
shit
was
on. He has a massive forehead and really slow feet, but he has a
frankly,
elite feel for the game, and he's an okay
frankly,
defender.
As someone with a massive forehead and slow feet, I relate to him, and I appreciate his slow nature. Wasn't that,
Alex? What do you
Man,
think?
I didn't have to laugh at my forehead that much.
It's just like the third super self-deprecating thing you said today. It's quite good.
he's B minus, but like, guys, I know like Kyle Anderson is a player that people are like, oh, he's cool and weird. Like he moves slow and it like works to his advantage. And like he can play point guard sometimes. Guys, I've watched so many Timberwolves games this past season. Like some people think Kyle Anderson is all that in the bag of chips, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He is a good role player. And he is pretty limited in things that he does well and can be very, very frustrating. I know this from watching countless Timberwolves games. He drives me nuts. That being said, B minus, he is a B minus player.
Yeah.
But he makes me so mad.
But the slow thing as well, like I think people are just like, because we've seen him use the slow thing to his advantage, that means it is an advantage. And it's like, it is in some contexts, but very often the fact that he's slow as shit is a problem.
Kyle Anderson could just absolutely dominate anybody on earth who isn't in the NBA in like a game of pickup for like the next 20 years. That's just the type of player he is. He's got an old man's game.
He reminds me of Boris Diaw.
That's actually pretty interesting. I don't mind that comparison at all. You know who doesn't remind me of Boris Diaw? Kyle Kuzma. What are we doing with Kyle Kuzma?
No similarity there, really. They both
B
play
minus,
power forward.
B.
That's about it. Probably B, right?
It feels weird to put him next to Grant Williams, but putting him above John Collins sounds about right.
He obviously had good counting stats, but not a winning situation. If he put up those stats in a winning situation, he'd be B plus, A minus. But I need to see him do that.
I'm cool with him in B. Yeah.
For me, this is an easy A tier. Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
Who apparently played like 45% of his minutes at small forward last year. He barely even made this list.
Yeah.
But he's a forward.
It's so weird to think about, especially because when the Bulls tried to run him at small forward, it was a fucking disaster. Like he would just get shredded, and then it ended up being a really good position for him.
And now for the moment everyone's been waiting for. LeBron James.
Still S tier.
Still S tier, huh?
Still S tier.
For sure? Confidently?
Doesn't feel like Alex is that sure.
It'd be pretty hot to put him in A tier, but like it's not entirely disagreeable. Like
so many people got mad at me for saying he's not top 5 in that hot takes video. Like I got a way higher threshold of comments saying that my takes this episode was bad, and that was the one that was highlighted all the time.
So we feeling A or we feeling S? I know you just confidently said S, but Alex, your smirk and recline is really convincing me that A might be the way to go, especially if we're trying to spread this list. It wouldn't be bad for engagement to have a tier list with
smile off of your face.
I'm not barking up this tree today.
Bark.
He's S tier.
All right. S tier
Whoa.
it is.
I'll say we can do this another day.
Just whole podcast episode. Is LeBron James overrated? Just
in all
Literally
seriousness, LeBron is
Fortnite
still
overrated.
S tier. My question was less about is LeBron still S tier and more how long do we think that continues for? Like next year, because I think we saw in the playoffs last year, like LeBron can still put up the numbers, but like AD is kind of turning into the guy that they're looking at as like the number one.
Dude,
like
this
he's the
dude,
guy that's starting to be the go-to.
This dude Mo is on your fucking ass.
I know he's called me a casual like every one of these episodes, which fair enough, I guess, whatever. But no,
Not
LeBron is still S
objectively.
tier. I'm just curious, how much longer do we think that continues for? Because there are like in the past, everyone was like, "Oh, LeBron's like 33. This isn't going to go on much longer."
What's that one
Mo,
tweet?
if you
basically
make any
that?
more comments like that, dog, we're definitely
Yeah,
gonna
don't
ban
say
you.
some
That's
shit like
that's not
that.
cool.
Oh, I'll put him in timeout.
That's crazy.
Anyways, we used to be able to be like with LeBron, everyone would be like, "This isn't going to go on much longer," and then psych, he's like top 3 in MVP voting. But now it's like, okay, we are seeing signs that
He's
age
human.
is here. Yeah. So I was just wondering what like where your all's thoughts were. This past playoff series was the first time where I was really like, oh wow, like LeBron is definitely getting older.
Yeah. And he played he was dealing with an injury for the playoffs that otherwise I might have like viewed that as enough to knock him down, but he was playing through an injury, so I'm not gonna do that quite yet. I mean, he's still putting up like what is it, like 37-7 on good efficiency. And like he's not like weirdly enough, as he's getting older, he started to play defense more. Like he kind of decided to stop doing that in 2018 and then like started doing it more again in 2020 and then kind of fell off a bit more and it's kind of fallen back into it. LeBron just kind of decides season by season whether or not he's going to play defense. So yeah. His shot
but
was
yeah, there's
off
no
a lot
there's
of
no
last year,
argument
that's
that
true.
he is not S tier. Like he is
Yeah.
solidly still S tier.
For sure. It would just be good engagement bait. But,
It would.
you know, we're not that type of podcast.
I was like, do I do it for the pod? Nah. I'll never
Y'all
sacrifice
not
my
trying to
integrity.
pod.
Especially not for this podcast.
Yo.
Oh, we got like
another
some
dono.
Australian dollars or something. I don't know what a dollar sign means.
What is
We
that
got a
in real
donation.
currency?
I gotta agree with it.
Yeah, LeBron F tier. He averaged 31.
What if that was like $800 in American currency?
Man, Forex would be going crazy right now. But thank you, Noah, for the joking little chat here. Do appreciate your donation. Marcus Morris? I think this is Marcus. One of the Marcuses made the power forward tier list, and the other one is technically a center. So which one of these controversial twins is getting ranked where? Pretty sure this is
Well,
Marcus.
one of them is much better than the other.
Yeah.
But he's annoying. Both of them are annoying, both as players and as dudes. Very questionable pod clip came out from them the
Yeah,
other
that
day.
was
Not going to get into that though.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I'd say
probably
C
B
tier,
minus.
probably. B minus
Really?
or C.
On his
Well,
best
see, the
days,
problem
he's
is I can't
B-minus.
remember which one is which.
No,
'Cause
this
I
is
know one of
Clippers.
them-
This is Clippers.
Okay.
This Marcus Morris, who, you know, is a capable enough creator. He does it more than he should, but he does. Decent, pretty damn good 3-point shooter. And as Osiris says here, most Clippers fans do hate him, but you know that could very much be around, you know, a matter of a fan base over hating on a player. But also, I feel like every fan base Marcus has ever been a part of has hated on him. So I'm good with C. I'm good with C.
I was gonna say C. Yeah,
He is
'Cause I
a
remember
B-minus player.
people were
with-
clamoring for Robert Covington to get minutes over him, and I completely agreed with that.
Yeah.
Because
He just does too much. I can't stand players that just do too much. It's like literally all you have to do is less to be better. That's the easiest thing.
Just relax, bro, and you'll be
Doing
good.
less things is such an easy thing to do.
I wonder if I could zoom out. And yep, all right, cool. We're back.
Maxi Kleba, that's an interesting one.
I think Maxi Kleba is pretty good personally, but I don't watch a lot.
Apparently, I have his jump shot.
Oh, 100%, 100% you do.
Interesting.
And you even look a little bit like him. Not a lot, but enough that also having his jump shot really lines up. But
C tier, B minus.
3-ball inconsistent, pretty damn good defender. Doesn't do a whole lot on offense outside of space the floor, and he doesn't space the floor all that well. I don't know.
I'd say he has enough value to still be B minus, but he's like kind of skating by here. He might be C pretty soon.
It's like he could have one.
There's an argument he could be in C right now, but I'm cool with B minus.
I would have said probably like 3 years ago when he was shooting 40% from 3 that he was arguably in B, because he was also, like, if I remember correctly, like playing pretty fucking good defense on Kawhi in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we living with B minus.
B minus is fine.
Playoff Kawhi is not an easy player to bother.
The best Frenchman to ever play in the NBA, Nicolas Batum.
Probably also B minus, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good with the Clippers. Like
he had one of his most productive seasons since Charlotte.
Yeah, he got paid by the Hornets, immediately fell off, got released, went to the Clippers, and then went back to being one of the best role players in the league as he was with the Portland Trailblazers.
y'all know that one song where he just catches a stray?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff. I remember, I feel like I say this almost every time Nick Batum is brought up on the podcast, but like in the infancy of my NBA fandom, I remember seeing on ESPN or something like that the Blazers were considering Nick Batum untouchable. And I'm just like,
yeah,
I get that he's an interesting young player, but what the hell? He doesn't seem that good. And then he got like mega paid by the Hornets. So I was like, okay, I guess Nick Batum is really good.
To be fair, for just looking at like his last 2 years with Portland, like 14, 7, and 5 assists, and an excellent defender, and a 37% 3-point shooter in high volume.
At what age and how many minutes?
That was when he was 24 and 25, and it was 37 minutes a game, which is pretty steep. But he was a very, very good role player in Portland, and now he's like the pretty good role player version of himself.
Gotcha. She OB on my topping. Where are we putting this guy?
That wasn't bad. That
one's for Desmond Novak.
That being said, like he's C tier at best.
Yeah.
But more comfortably.
Probably too good for D tier.
He's definitely too good for D tier. I could see him being B minus this next year though, because he's not been utilized well in New York. And I think as a pick and roll big, he's going to fit in obviously very well with Halliburton. I imagine being on the floor with Halliburton instead of the players he was previously on the floor with is going to result in like 6 more points a game alone.
He definitely needs to be in like a structured offense where like
100%.
Things aren't being drawn up for him, but like he can operate within the realms of it and not just like be handed a live grenade and expected to do something.
Honestly, I think he needs like what Aaron Gordon's role is on offense, maybe a little bit less self-creation. But then, of course, he's not bringing the defense to the table that Aaron Gordon is. But if he could get to just be okay on defense and then just like unstoppable rolling to the rim, he could be pretty fucking good.
This next Pacers guy, another name that escapes me, probably just some bench guy for the Pacers. Where are we putting him? Someone want to tell me his name?
Is that
the cursor is over his face. Is that O'Shea Brissett?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it started with an O. I was like, that's not Ochai Agbaji. Who is it? No, it's just.
Agbashi. It's funny because you pronounced it right, but it was just the way
With
it
no
came out was
confidence.
funny.
Yeah, you said it right and gave up on yourself halfway through.
It's like when you don't know someone's name, so you're like, you just kind of try to rush through like your best.
What's up,
guess.
man? Yeah,
What's
no,
up,
good to see you, dude.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Ochai.
I don't think he's that great.
Didn't he have a stretch his rookie year where everyone was like, oh?
I think he had a stretch his first year with Indiana, but that was technically his second year, and it was
thank
also.
you
I'm gonna
for
try
your,
and find it.
Thank you, Mo, for your apology and euros. I do appreciate that very much. Apologies go a long way on this podcast.
European, that explains it.
Oh yeah, dude, he had a. I mean, it wasn't the craziest thing in the world, but
Yeah,
it was like a 10-game stretch of like 15 points and
I feel like
9
did
rebounds.
Did he get drafted?
He got drafted by Toronto, I think.
I could have swore Basketball Reference used to say whether or not you got drafted, but I guess not anymore. No, he signed a 10-day contract with them. And then eventually a 2-way. So he was undrafted. I think that's why people were like, this guy came out of fucking nowhere.
Good for him. C
But,
tier?
D
D tier?
Really
Yeah,
bad.
he's D-tier. Yeah, he's not very good.
Huh. Quick, Alex, who was this?
Oh my gosh, the French dude, Ousmane Dieng.
Yeah, there you go. Where are we putting Usman?
So if we're going off last season, which has kind of been my philosophy with
Mhm.
everything, I mean he's like D tier. But that being said, he looked the big problem with him is when he would be on the floor, he just never looked confident. He would just always like get the ball and just not really know what to do with it and just looked lost on the defensive end. There was just so much that he wasn't doing well, and then like the flashes were kind of limited. So like last year at best D, but looking at the guys in D, I'd say he's probably closer to F. That being said,
Just that being said,
he's
cut
so
off.
confused. You
Oh,
said
man.
that being said, and your mic cut off. I don't know what to tell you, man.
We're on a hot streak after an hour and a
man,
half.
That was the timing of that was so good.
Oh, now he's just a spinning wheel.
Like
That's okay.
specifically setting the precedent that he was going to say something and then not being able to say anything.
can you guys hear me?
There you
Loud
go.
and clear.
That
what was
being
being
said, he will probably be in a much higher tier next year.
Safe to say he's the best player in F tier, or is that more of a Kevin Knox, Chris Boucher thing?
I would
F
say
with
it's probably more of
potential.
a Chris Boucher thing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, moving on to Paolo Banchero. Where are we putting this man? Probably next to Jeremy Grant, right? Maybe.
Oh, man.
I feel like this is a controversial one. He's coming off of a Rookie of the Year campaign where he wasn't very efficient, but scored a lot and put up a lot of other numbers on a bad team. But he's real big and real athletic. Zay, the Magic fan of the chat and moderator of the chat,
I think
says S++.
I think he's B.
Think he's more of a Kyle Kuzma than a Jeremy Grant, huh?
But I think being what Kyle Kuzma was last year as a rookie is an extraordinary sign. Like he had a very good rookie season, but he was also Rookie of the Year because the only competition he had wasn't really there for like a large chunk of the season at first. And by the time J-Dub started breaking onto the scene, it was kind of like everyone had already decided Paolo was Rookie of the Year and it wasn't really going to change. But Paolo, like I believe the second half of his year was worse than the first half, if I'm remembering correctly. And his overall like rookie numbers are not jumping out at you, and it's not like he had some outstanding level impact.
It's I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times,
wish we
especially
had-
in the guard tier list, we did a little bit of projecting out where we said, okay, this guy's clearly showing signs that he's going to be better than he was last year, this upcoming year. And so we projected out just a little bit. I think with a guy like Paolo, who's the top pick of the draft, I think we could do that. I think that's totally fair and reasonable.
Yeah, he's like the one player where I'm like, fine, we can project out a little bit. But
dude,
yeah,
I don't think he's.
I think he's B+.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's where I think he should be as well. Putting Paolo Banchero and Herb Jones in the same tier just doesn't quite sit right with me.
That's what I was gonna say. If we put him in B, we were gonna have to move guys from B down.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know.
Speaking of top picks, Patrick.
I'm not saying he didn't have a big impact on the Magic, but it doesn't take much to impact the Magic better than what they would have been. It's a pretty low bar to begin with.
P. Willie, where are we putting Patrick?
B- at best, probably C.
Confidently in C. He's still like fine enough as a like role player. It's just annoying that he doesn't do more.
I appreciate your approval, Zay.
The things that he is supposed to theoretically be good at, he took a step back in last year.
I was just very, very fair about Patrick Williams. Don't give me that Bulls fan shit. I still believe Patrick has star potential. I don't think he's had a fair enough circumstance around him to just knock that off as a possibility. Can't be consistent.
I mean, I'm with you, but also I'm totally cool if I'm getting the vibe that Patrick Williams is going to be one of those situations where I'm like that meme from Joker where it's Joaquin Phoenix putting the clown makeup on in the mirror. And it's like me telling myself Patrick Williams is going to have a breakout season. I'm going to be doing that when Patrick Williams is 35.
Yeah.
Just the anti-Nick Batum. PJ Tucker. Interesting one. Definitely a specialist and definitely kind of bad. Advanced stats, as far as I understand, said that he's one of the worst players in the league.
Yeah, I would put him in.
He's D tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine. There's been a couple of years where we're PJ Tucker, old as dirt, still getting the job done. And last year, the second half of that expression was gone, and it was just PJ Tucker is old as dirt.
Yeah.
He's not getting the job done anymore.
Speaking of PJs,
fine. He's 37.
What about
quite a lot
PJ
of longevity
Washington
for a guy who wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah, good on him. Got his bag.
Dude, PJ Washington, I think, is super underrated. I don't understand why no one was interested in him, and Charlotte was barely even interested in him. Yes, I think he's S tier.
Would you say he's more of a strong supporting role player or a potential star someday level good? It sounds like you're.
I think he averaged
high on him.
He averaged 16 and 5 last year, 2.5 assists, which isn't bad for a big man. 1 block. I think he's a fine defender. He shoots the 3 ball well enough. He mostly doesn't make too many mistakes. I think he's as good as Nicholas Batum, Maxi Kleber. I think he's as good as any of those guys are.
I think he's probably B tier.
Wow, really? I thought I was gonna have to fight on this, but I was gonna play it conservative and be like, I'm not quite sure. But yeah,
to me, I think the guys on Charlotte moving the 3 that if you're gonna build around 3 players, it's LaMelo, PJ, and Mark.
That's what
that's
I don't get is because it took him so long to get a contract, and it was from the Hornets. I'm like, how did no one have? I would have loved for the Bulls to throw him a contract, but apparently not. Maybe he has something going on behind the scenes. I don't know.
Real quick, one thing I want to advocate for, and it's been pointed out by a couple people in the chat throughout the course of the episode so far. Oh, and Brandon Miller, of course. I figured that was assumed, but I'm talking about the known players right now that we've seen play in the NBA. Back to what I was saying. With Dorian Finney-Smith, seeing how the rest of the D tier played out, I would probably move Dorian Finney-Smith into C tier. Personally.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying that in the chat as well. It seems like our most egregious error so far is undervaluing
I was the one.
DFS.
Okay, I'm just saying. I was the one saying he should be there.
The problem is, I think we just placed him too early. He's like,
probably
Early in the alphabet. It's not his fault, you know?
Yeah.
His name starts with the letter D. And so we put him in D tier because it matches. But, you know, that's not always the answer. Unless you're Robert Covington, which I do think he belongs in C for Covington tier. But that's just me. What do you guys think?
I mean,
if
he's not nearly
Ty
as
Lue
good as he
actually
was.
played him in the playoffs, I might even argue that he's B-. But since he, for some reason, is allergic to playing Robert Covington, I'd say C is fine.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes when a player is a little bit older, you'll see a little bit of regression, and then like a coach just way overreacts, and it's just like, nope, this guy can't play anymore. He's decrepit.
Yeah, the old Duncan Robinson.
Well, Duncan was like in his mid-20s, but Robert Covington, genuinely, Sixers Robert Covington is probably top 3 in my favorite role players ever.
You just fill your Jeremy Grant hole.
I don't love that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go on about Rocco, or should we move on to Rui?
Just move on to
Rui is B, right?
Right. Right there in the Brandon Clark tier. Is he more of a John Collins, Nick Batum guy?
He is about as smack
he's
dab in the
better.
middle of B and B-
Yeah.
as you can possibly get, in my opinion.
Oof. That's tough because there's no imaginable grade between B- and B.
I mean,
There's no B- plus, you know.
He was absurdly good in the playoffs.
He's literally, like, to me, if we had all of these players in order, Rui would be directly in the middle of the B and B- tier. Like, if we had all of them ordered out.
Yeah, like I think he's better than everybody in B. I mean, I think you can make the case that Rui's as good as PJ Washington or Herb Jones.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm cool with him in B. Yeah. I would err towards B a little bit. So
yeah.
Especially,
I mean,
he shot with the Lakers.
He shot 56% from the field, 49% from 3, scoring 12 points a game for the Lakers in 24 minutes in the playoffs. There were games where it seemed like he pretty much like carried the load offensively and was the reason that they won. So, and I have been a big believer in Rui for a long time, and I imagine he officially gets the starting role going into this year, given that Vando is so bad in the playoffs and they just paid him. So I'm hoping he gets to be like a 16, 17 point per game guy, if not this year, next year.
Yeah. I will say, even with Rui, another positive with him is like in the playoffs when they were in that Nuggets series, and he was matched up against Jokic. Obviously, Jokic still ended up getting his, but the Nuggets did have to like stop and figure that out for a second. Yeah. And like the fact that he did well enough to where it had an impact that it gave them a problem to solve. It was like, oh, okay.
Honestly, I think
you did a good job.
That might have been the only time that the Nuggets really flinched in the entire playoffs. So the fact that he's the lone person to have done that.
And that's a World Series.
Getting agendas off for a team that's not even yours.
Bruce Brown said it, not me. He said that was their hardest series.
Yeah, I think Minnesota will surprise people next year. I feel like way too many people wrote them off.
Santi Aldama, I think comfortably B-, but you know, I'm also a little bit.
No, there's another one.
I don't love Santi. When Santi's in, I'm not like, oh boy, another one of my favorite guys. Like,
dude,
I'm not a big
for
Santi
Luke
guy.
Kennard. He barely even played for your fucking team.
Yeah, but when he did, he made like 90% of his threes. So of course I'm going to cape for that. Santi getting a little bit of a FIBA bump for me. If y'all want to put him in C tier, that's fucking fine.
I'd probably say C tier.
He's definitely C. Yeah. If not D.
Like I'm out here putting him in A.
So I don't wake up to a text tomorrow. But if you text me about B-,
I don't give a fuck about Santi Aldama. I'll be real.
I think you gave a
people
fuck
are
about
generally higher on Santi than I am as non-Grizzlies fans.
If you're a tall forward that can shoot, people are a fan generally.
One of these Rockets fellas. I don't
Tari
know.
Eason,
Oh, that's Tari Eason.
University of Cincinnati legend.
I don't know anything about him.
Probably B-. I think people say he's really good, but he's also on the Rockets, so I don't know if he's really good for being
think
on the
B-
Rockets.
for sure.
Why?
I think
is
he'll
it
probably be closer to B this year. I really like Tari Eason's game. I think he's probably right now. There's an argument he's the best defender on the Rockets right now.
Yeah.
Why is it a power
I don't even say there's
forward
an
list?
argument. He probably is the best defender on the Rockets right now.
I'm trying to read a comment, Alex.
I'm trying to pod.
Yeah, I know. Dude, come on, man. There's no way you got to put that together. What do you think? Do you think everyone locks in at the same position and plays 100% of their minutes at the same position? Forwards go back and forth between small forward and power forward. I think almost everyone on this list, you will find they probably played at least 20 minutes at small forward, or 20% of their minutes at small forward the previous season. Almost everyone here, because that's just how the forward position works in the NBA.
Yeah. I do wish that I could have put Jalen Williams on here, but considering he played like 75% of his time at two guard, we just missed him. So
yeah,
big L on that one, but it's okay.
I'm okay if we throw him on here.
I mean, how many minutes did he play at power forward?
It was like 11%.
It was his second most minutes.
Like oh, really?
Really? For some reason, it might have
been. You're faster at cleaning the glass than me.
The problem with OKC is like positions mean nothing on that team. Like a lot of people were mad that Josh Giddey was on the small forwards list, and it's like I understand why you're mad about that, but the problem is like we have to have some sort of reasoning to like break the debate. Like, okay, we can say that this player actually played in this position, but we have to have a reasoning why. And so we've just been going off cleaning the glass.
Dude, how many people are left? This spot's almost 2 hours.
264 right now. They're also.
Oh my god! I thought you were saying there were 264 players left.
I think I meant left in the stream watching. Torian Prince. We only got a handful of dudes left. We're at the T's.
This is Desmond's favorite player, unironically. He's probably.
Oh, I
probably.
Shouldn't say C like that.
Huh?
I held up my hand and did C. I don't know. Sometimes some of that stuff is like, well, yeah. Anyways,
right.
Torian Prince is probably C tier.
Dancing all funny. Yeah. Thad Young, also C tier, I think, but.
Oh, he's so old. I forget he's still in the league.
Yeah, Bulls legend Thad Young.
He literally
3 years ago, I probably would have said S tier.
Dude, legitimately, career high in assists per game by a substantial margin at the age of 32 for the Chicago Bulls. But I honestly have no idea how good he is now. Probably not very.
Is he a PJ Tucker good, or is he a Santi Aldama good?
I mean, I imagine when he plays, he still gets the job done well enough to be not a terrible. So
TJ Warren.
When he speaks to young players too, I know he advocates a lot for like learn your role early and you'll have a long career, and I think that's very wise.
I'd probably put him in D tier though, personally.
Thad Young or TJ Warren?
Thad, yeah.
No.
He averaged 4 points and 3 rebounds, played 15 minutes.
Ooh,
17%.
Pretty D tier. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. That's got D tier written all over it.
Yeah. TJ Warren, elite scorer, doesn't do a whole lot else. Where are we putting him? Jacob's favorite type of player.
How much does he even play, really?
Yeah, tell me about it.
He doesn't play a lot anymore.
Well, he played 6 games in the postseason. It was very, very bad.
African Goku says Bubble Warren is S tier.
Honestly,
everybody knows that's the best 7 games he ever played.
He probably is F because he can't really do anything outside of like score, and he didn't do that. He doesn't do that well anymore because he's just had a bunch of injuries.
I would probably say D, but I'm cool.
I think he's F.
I don't know,
genuinely.
I think he's better than
I mean, these guys don't do
much every guy in F.
Yeah, but TJ doesn't do anything anymore either. He just takes bad shots. That's all that he brings to the table.
Did he pass our 35 game threshold?
Yeah,
did,
42
but
games.
not for the same team. It was like
No, but yeah, it's fine. Just games played. Yeah, I don't know. He's really bad.
A lot of D's in the chat, a lot of F's. Let's just do F. Okay, whatever.
it's fine.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Vlatko Konchar.
Yeah, that's someone I know
believe
nothing
that's how you
about.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
He's probably like a C guy, right? He's one of those players that Nuggets fans are like, he could be good, but right now it's like he didn't
Tall
play
forward.
in the playoffs like at all, really.
Tall forward that can shoot. I'm telling you, good
Actually,
tall
wasn't he
forward that
hurt?
can shoot. People are interested.
Yeah. But
I'll
either way,
have
I'd
you
say he's probably
know.
C or D.
I'll have you know. He played 10 minutes in the postseason.
Yeah, let's go
total.
D for that reason.
Total.
Putting him
Total.
on the same realm as Jeff Green doesn't quite feel right, considering Jeff Green played way more than him in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
I'm going off vibes from Nuggets fans that I see on Twitter. I would say D is probably about where the pulse is right now, with potentially better results in the future.
Grizzlies legend Yuta
Something to
Watanabe.
look at.
I would be willing to go all the way to B- because like he's pretty electric, crazy high effort, crazy good shooting percentage now. I think he's a fundamentally sound role player through and through, and putting him next to like Georges Niang and P. Willie doesn't quite feel right. Putting him more next to like Kyle Anderson does. So I would say B-, but what do y'all think?
I agree. Yeah. I think impact wise, like this dude makes some pretty insane impact. Like post trade deadline, like and if you're talking guys who were actually still contributing to winning on that Nets team, Yuta was killing it.
I think going off of last season, he would be C for the totality of it. But like, I think what he was at his best last year is what he is and will be for the foreseeable future, which is a B- guy.
And then our last one does not meet our games played threshold, but the list would feel just as incomplete as if we left off Poku. Jacob, I can tell you're so entertained right now. Do y'all want to guess who this player is, especially knowing that we're going in alphabetical order based on first name? See if the pot has fatigued you guys.
Order? Dude, I already told you my energy
what was
levels
what you
would be
said
weird.
real quick?
Missed a lot of games, doesn't actually meet our threshold, but the list would feel incomplete without him. And we're at the end of the alphabet now in the power forward tier list.
Aaron Wiggins.
Wrong side of the alphabet. Not the last name, first name. I almost put Aaron Wiggins on here, but you left him off last week. So I was like, he probably doesn't want to talk Aaron Wiggins this time.
Is it
Yeah,
the
there's probably a
Nationals?
good chunk of people who don't even know who Aaron Wiggins is.
It's
Oh,
Zion.
Yeah, Zion. Zion.
Right.
And he only played 29 games last year, but
Dude,
no, I'm not
that's
going
who
to give
you
him the
should have put
grade.
in the thumbnail.
Not going to put.
man.
He's still pretty easily A tier, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
and
he-
with that, the
he-
list is
he
complete
was
unless we
S
want to
tier for
refine it.
A brief.
Only
moment.
only suggestion, and I agree with what the chat has been saying about this. I think we did probably jump the gun a little bit on Chris Boucher being in F tier. I think he is better
Yeah,
comfortably than everyone in F tier.
Yeah, I was looking at that as well.
Yeah. Well, strictly for aesthetics, I'm dying to move someone out of D tier now and move them either up or down. So who's it going to be? Because I can't have two of these things stacking, especially when one of them just has one in the second
I
round.
really don't know if any of those guys deserve to move one way or the other. Well, you could probably move Thad Young to F, frankly. And he's bad last year.
Yeah, barely played.
Good
barely
dude,
put up
real
numbers.
good dude, but he's old as shit. It happens.
Putting him in D would be a legacy pick. So, in order,
The
we
real
got Giannis.
courtesy of
No,
the
I'm just
legacy pick for D tier.
Any other refinements we want to make?
Wait, where's Jason Tatum? Did we put him on last week?
We put him on last week at the very
Okay,
end. Yeah.
Gotcha. I was real worried. I was like, someone's gonna crucify us for this.
I really don't understand why people think Bertans is like truly useless, because that's not true.
All right, he's making that money for some reason. It's
But
just that thing that you talked about in other videos where it's like if you're overpaid, then you're deemed worse. I think we talked about this with Tobias Harris last week. Yeah, Alex had a whole spiel about it.
Mm-hmm. As I think,
if Davis Bertans was making $5 million a year, no one would be here clamoring for him to go down a spot. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, normally this would be the segment of the podcast where we do Q&A, but
I mean, that hasn't been the case for a while because these keep going too fucking long.
Right.
Are we good with Batum? Hold on. Are we good with Batum and B-? Chat's mentioning it. I wanted to address it. I've been thinking about it a little bit too.
I think he's better than everyone in C tier.
You think he's comfortably better than Derek Jones Jr. and Vando?
Yes.
So my question isn't how much better is he than everybody in C tier. My question is he as good as everybody in B-? And I think so.
He could argue to be just as good as Kleba, just as good as John Collins, even though they're really weird players to compare. Similar-ish to Grant, to Grant, but I don't think it'd be wrong to say he's the worst player in B-, but I also think he'd be the best player in C.
I would rather him be the best player in C than be the worst player in B-.
I can agree with
personally.
That as well.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been a starter for a minute, and like not a bad one. He only started 19 games last year.
I'm not quite sure I would consider him the best player in C.
Yeah, I think there's a range of guys who are similar caliber in C tier. I think moving him down was the right move.
Yeah. He's
just so old, you can't, he's not Portland Trailblazers Nick Batum anymore. But with that said, Jacob's yawning. Y'all got any shit you want to get off before I roll that outro?
Please watch my upcoming Mark Williams video because no one's going to watch it.
Please watch my main channel video because we got cucked by the algorithm.
Yeah, that's always fun when that happens. But yeah, bye.